Alright, this is just a ramble video. It's more or less like a warm-up for some videos that I want to make in 2018, if I get the time and if I have the energy, and they're going to be about Quentin Tarantino. Okay, now I think Quentin Tarantino is one of the best directors of all time, and I think he's like massively underrated. Like, I don't think every single one of his films is awesome. He's even made some proper shit ones, but he has made some really good ones, and the general way that he depicts things is quite unique, and I think it's down to the fact that he's, in my opinion, like deeply autistic. So like, I'm not in any way qualified to say that, but I've seen like the autistic side of YouTube. There's quite a few autistic YouTubers and stuff, and like the really sort of strongly autistic ones, a lot of the way that they talk and the energy they have, and mannerisms and the way that they think and communicate, it's like very like Quentin Tarantino does. So therefore I'm going to say that he's autistic. I don't really know that much about autism, but I know that it can be like a different way of seeing the world, and I think what Tarantino has is that he it's not so much that he sees the world differently, he just sees how we see the world. And I think the way that many of us in the West see the world and perceive it is through movie images. Okay, so basically we've been brought up on movies and TV, and these kind of form the basis for our understanding of the world. Okay, so these provide us with the imagery and like sort of like movie language that we then use to interpret the world. So basically what I'm trying to say is he sees that this is how we think. We think like this, but we don't quite see it, and he sees it, and his movies are basically about that, about the fact that we all live in a kind of movie of our own. So yeah, I think he understands that basically, I think he understands that we make up a lot of our memories with these movies that we consume. It's kind of like a language a little bit as well, so we kind of recreate our own worlds or our worldview, like using these little fragments of scenes from scenes and ideas that we've consumed from TV and from movies. So like, one of the kind of clear examples of this, where he sort of lays it out for everybody, I think is in Inglourious Basterds. Okay, so like in that particular film, it's centered around a cinema. Okay, it's set in World War II, and it's centered around a cinema. Okay, and specifically the showing of a propaganda film in the cinema. And if you look at every single scene from the movie, every scene is lifted from an existing like post-war movie about World War II. So like every single scene is a recreation of a famous and classic war movies about World War II, made by the Americans and the English. Okay, so we've got a cinema, we've got every single scene in the movie being lifted from post-war World War II films, and the plot centers around the showing of a propaganda movie by the Nazis in a cinema. Okay, so I think it's fair to say that he's saying that our cultural memory of World War II is pretty much made up of these images from the movies and TV that we've consumed after World War II. So like, even yourself, if you like think about World War II, like just now, maybe a lot of the images that you have that come to your mind will actually be from movies as well. Okay, like Quentin Tarantino goes a little bit deeper, I think, with that film. And for instance, the cinema is run by a Jewish lady, and at the end of the movie, as all the Nazis are basically being defeated, the projector is projecting the laughing face of this Jewish woman who's getting her revenge on a big smoke, and it's very much like The Wizard of Oz. Okay, there's a definite film reference there to Wizard of Oz. And so yeah, as this kind of laughing image of the Jewish woman who owns the cinema is up on the smoke, all these Nazis are dying and they're being defeated. So you can read whatever you want into that. But yeah, it's not just the past. Like, I mean, it's very similar with the Django too. Okay, the Django's obviously a very similar kind of thing where he's kind of, what he's done with that is he's taken Roots. If you've not seen Roots, you really need to watch it. And I think he's pretty much shown us that, like, the cultural history of slavery, the cultural memory of slavery for most people is actually a cultural memory of the TV series Roots. Okay, like, so just like with Inglourious Bastards, if you watch Roots and watch the Django, you'll notice that it's very much the scenes and the style and the whole thing is pretty much like Roots on steroids. Okay, so with the other films he's made, like with Kill Bill and stuff, I think Kill Bill was perhaps not really making a statement as such. It was just like him taking all the most like beautiful images that he has in his mind from cinema and putting them all together and turning up the colour and just making it awesome. Like, it's definitely one of the most beautiful films ever made. I saw it like several times in the cinema when it came out because I'd never seen anything like it. The only kind of, I don't know, there could be some kind of commentary on feminism a little bit there. I mean, we've got a woman who's basically being badass throughout the whole revenge film, and she's like being like pretty much super aggressive and masculine, and there's part of her missing, okay, throughout the whole film. And the only time she's ever happy and complete is at the end of the movie when she puts down her sword. She's killed a man, Bill, and she has her child with her. So basically, the only time we see her satisfied is when she's more or less doing a traditional female role of rearing a child. Okay, and if you look at the last scene of that, it's I'll let you watch it for yourself and make your mind up. Okay, Pulp Fiction. I think Pulp Fiction is the actual movie where he's like peering into our mind and showing us how it's made of these movie images. And like a clue to it in particular is if you go and look at like that Jack Rabbit's what's it, cafe or whatever, like just watch that scene a few times. It can help if you're under the influence of certain herbs, but just watch that scene and get back to me.